Imagine you are walking with a friend through the forest. The only sound you hear is crunching leaves under your feet, and somewhere, far off, there is a bird chirping. Now imagine that you turn around for a moment, then look back, and your friend disappears in complete silence without a trace. We are going to dive deeper into 5 of the most mysterious national park disappearances that puzzle the experts and continue to haunt the families of the missing. 1. The strange case of Dennis Martin, Great Smoky Mountains, National Park, Tennessee. It was the Father's Day weekend of 1969 when 6-year-old Dennis Martin went on a camping trip into the Great Smoky Mountains National Park with his family. He was quite an active, playful child who was more than happy to be in the mountains. Finally, on June 14, the Martin family arrived at Spence, nearly a place unmatched in beauty and peace. His father William, his grandfather Clyde, and his elder brother Douglas all went down that long journey with him. The kids started playing hide and seek with another family who spent their holidays in the area. William's eyes must have fallen on the boys, more especially on his younger son, who hid himself behind a bush so that no one could find him. Soon Dennis was acknowledged to be lost, and even William, his father, was calling his name, but there came no response. The huge search began hours after the rangers came to know about it. It was night now, and much of the urgency that had pushed this search so far wasn't there. Still, 400 people helped search for Dennis: park employees, Army reserves, volunteers. Information came from another family who claimed to have seen someone like Dennis on the very day he disappeared in the park. Also, there would have been one from a family, the entire family of Key, who were picnicking on that very day, 6 miles from Spence Field, saying that they plainly heard a loud scream, and then they said they saw a roughly dressed man running through the woods, something slung over his shoulder. This lead was reported to authorities, but this really never followed through. So many wonder if Dennis really had been taken by someone in the remote part of the park. Days were turning into weeks, and with each day, hope did crumble too. Soon the search would be over, and a while later, the Martins family had to drive home across the state without their son. Even up to this day, there is no collective evidence that puts this puzzle together. What really happened to Dennis? It's one of the largest, biggest, and most famous of all unsolved mysteries in the United States. 2. The Vanishing of Sarah Davenport, Mount Asgard, Canada. In the summer of the year 2011, a 29-year-old climber from Britain, Sarah Davenport, set out solo for Mount Asgard. The thing that engaged Sarah most was the climb on the steep slopes of the mountain. Sarah frequently used the satellite phone to communicate with her base camp, while her advancement was being followed carefully by her supporting team. On July 15th, she said that she was on schedule to reach the peak in 2 days' time. That was the last time she sent a message. The authorities who were tracking the progress of the operations failed to find Sarah checking in as planned. The rescue team was then sent. They began tracking her steps along the mountain. They found a few of her equipment and food covers, but they did not find Sarah. The weather was always unpredictable, which worsened, making the search exercise even more challenging. In the following week, rescue missions were conducted on the mountain through helicopters, drones, and search on the ground, but Sarah was nowhere to be found. This confused the searchers. No clues were found as to what could have happened to her. Other climbers estimated that probably she fell into a crevasse or had been buried. However, there were no traces of a fall or a burial. Some people expected that she could have gotten confused by the adverse climate and thus deviated from her path. But this could not be the case. Since the day she went missing, no more information has been brought to light. Sarah's story is one of the countless unsolved tales of these parks, the places where the surroundings do not part with their stories easily. 3. The strange enigma of Luis Andrade, Anavilhanas Archipelago, Brazil. From the central part of the Rio Negro, containing over 400 islands, 3 researchers from Sao Paulo, the trio of Maria Silva, Paulo Ferreira, and Luis Andrade, went there. They had missions of photographing the few species of plants that grow in the region and observation of the behavior of native reptiles. They decided to camp on one of the small islands that nobody ever inhabited when the days of punching through these tortuous, winding channels came to an end. There on the 4th day, Luis Andrade went into the jungle rumor area, where there was a hidden lagoon. It was getting dark, and still, there was no clue of him. With no answer to their call on the radio, Dr. Silva and Paolo were getting anxious. At the first light of dawn, they decided to keep going further inside the woods to follow the trace of Luis. Many hours passed into several hours of walking until his machete was suddenly fixed in one tree. Still, there was no sight of Luis. They sought the help of the local administration, which then took the helm in directing search committees for them. It was searched on foot in the jungles for a number of days, which turned out to be unfruitful and hence called off. Other members of the tribe believed that Luis probably would have offended the forest spirits, while others thought that he was attacked and killed by wild animals or maybe by illegal logging operators, who often visit deep territories in Amazon. Finally, after the desperation and dangerous risky attempts, Dr. Silva and Paolo were airlifted out of the park, and that horrible, traumatizing experience. Luis Andrade could only be declared missing, believed dead, but his body was never found. The island is still regarded as a terra incognita, where the unknown of the rainforest is still a mystery to most tourists. 4. The Mysterious Disappearance of Stacy Arras, Yosemite National Park, California. It was mid-July 1981 when teenager Stacy Arras, with her father and some friends, went on a horseback riding holiday in Yosemite National Park. When they arrived at the Sunrise High Sierra camp, incredibly well-sighted, Stacy wanted to take a brief stroll to photograph one of the other lakes. She was left behind by her father and another man from the group that went back to the camp. However, she did not return to the camp. After some time, the community was worried. In a few moments, a search was arranged. Rescue crews walked through the location shouting Stacy's name. There was no response. The only sign was a lens cap, which is used in a camera, and it was discovered a few meters from the trail, a distance from her camp. Some of the theories that have been considered over these years include Stacy losing her balance and falling into some hidden cave, or becoming a victim of abduction by some stranger. None of them has clarified the mystery that surrounds Stacy Arras, and this remains an unsolved mystery until the present time. 5. The disappearance of Hiroshi Takeda, Aokigahara Forest, Japan. In 2009, 27-year-old Hiroshi Takeda from Japan decided to take a solo camping trip into Aokigahara. He planned to spend 3 days exploring the forest and return with stories to tell. One misty morning, Hiroshi mounted a forest, fully equipped with camping gear. He texted his sister upon arrival to say that he was about to enter the sea of trees. That was the last time that anyone heard from him. His family went to the authorities when Hiroshi did not come back home. A huge search operation began with local police and volunteers. Yet the extensive forestry and winding paths of Aokigahara hindered it. Days turned into weeks, but no trace of Hiroshi was found. No tent, no gear, not even a footprint. Hiroshi's disappearance added to the dark legend of the forest. Many have come to believe that he turned out to be a victim of the reputed supernatural forces of the forest. Some claim magnetic anomalies about Aokigahara, stating that these disturbances are capable of bringing disorientation even in the most seasoned travelers. To this day, Hiroshi's fate remains unknown. The forest remains an invitation to all those wanting an escape from their troubles, and for some, a place of final rest, while for others, Hiroshi included, just a place to vanish. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more creepy stories. Which of these mysterious disappearances gave you eerie experience? Let us know. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and remember, sometimes the scariest stories are the ones that are real.